Now for our story. Peggy Douglas had still been asleep when her aunt left for town this morning. The excitement of the last weeks and the surprising conclusion of the custody trial had exhausted the young girl. And so the family had tried to be as quiet as possible during breakfast, after which they had gone their separate ways. Aunt Mary to go on the egg route, and Lefty and Randy to go about their chores. Now it is early afternoon. Aunt Mary has returned, and coming into the living room of the little farmhouse on Willow Road, finds it empty. But there is someone moving around in the kitchen.
Peggy?
Oh, it's me, Mom. I'll be right in.
All right, Randy.
I came in to get something cool to drink. Like a Coke, Mom?
Sure, that's a start.
Oh, thanks, dear. I had to buy it in town just before I left. Where's Peggy?
Oh, she must be upstairs. I think I heard her running the water in the bathtub when I came in.
I'm glad she's had a good long rest.
Yeah, she needed it. Well, what's the news from the big city? Any juicy tidbits, scandals, fires, or whatever?
Oh, goodness, Randy. To hear you, one would think you were starved for excitement.
I'm not, though. As a matter of fact, there's been enough excitement around here to last me for months.
Yeah, I think we all feel that way. I ran into Lily.
You did?
Mm.
Well, how's our proud blonde beauty today?
Just fine, apparently. She was on her way over to the bank to see David Berman. I think she was a little nervous about talking to him.
Well, that's funny. David's hardly what I'd call a menacing character.
Isn't that, but, well, I'm afraid Lily's had a little trouble here and there in town.
Well, how come? Jeepers, with her looks, she ought to have people eating right out of her hand.
Oh, no, Randy. But lots of people are a little wary of strangers, and especially anyone who's been connected with the fit.
But that's crazy, Mom. Why, anyone with half an eye can see that Lily's a swell kid. No pretenses, no affectation. She says what she means, and that's that.
Of course, Randy. And people will recognize that as time goes on.
Well, I should hope so. Say, didn't you say you were going to see Nicholas this noon?
Yes.
Well, what was on his mind?
Well, Randy, Nicholas told me...
Oh, Mary, I didn't hear you come in.
Oh, I just got here a few minutes ago, dear. Did you sleep well?
Oh, yes, when I finally dropped off. But imagine sleeping until 11. Why did you wake me up?
No, we all thought it would be good for you to get some rest.
Well, I certainly did. But I felt so guilty about being a lazy bone that I got dizzy and did all the mending I've been postponing for days.
Doing penance, eh, Thacker? Say, come to think of it, I've got a button or two which needs some attention. Maybe I could cash in on this conscience.
Well, I don't know if it hurts that much. I'll just bring them up to my room. I've been letting everything go lately, but now I'm going to catch up. I'll even down your socks if they need it.
Oh, you needn't do that, dear. That's my job. And I don't mind doing it in the evenings, especially when Randy reads to me while I work.
That's right, Mom. You know, I've been getting a big kick out of reading all those old books again. We're almost through with David Copperfield. What do we do next?
Whatever you like, dear. I always enjoyed Dickens. This is the third time I've gone through David Copperfield.
By the way, I caught you the other night.
Caught me?
Mm-hmm. You weren't listening at all. You had a dreamy look in your eyes. I stopped reading and you didn't even notice.
Oh, dear. Well, I confess I have been somewhat preoccupied lately. But I think that's all pretty much in the past now. I promise to give you my undivided attention in the future.
Well, see that you do, my good woman. It isn't everyone who has the privilege of listening to such golden tones.
Listen to him. Randy Lane, I think you're getting to be conceited.
Why not? I'm young, handsome, brilliant.
Yes, dear. Of course you are.
Oh, now, don't spoil him, Aunt Mary. He's had enough already.
It's no use, Peg. The damage is done. Mom started spoiling me too long ago. You can't dampen my spirits.
Why, I never did spoil you, Randy. Not for 1 minute.
I think I know one person who thinks Randy is just as wonderful as he pretends to think he is.
Ah, you interest me. Tell me more.
Well, I won't mention any names, but her initials are L.D.
Oh, come on now, Peg. If you mean Lily Devon, and I know darn well you do...
Oh, really? I think Lily has a soft spot in her heart for you.
Well, I know she likes Randy, but...
That's right, Mom. Peg is just teasing. Because she's engaged, she sees the old love light shining everywhere.
The way you talk, Randy.
That's right. Randy hasn't an ounce of sentimentality in him.
Well, I don't know about that, dear. He just hasn't found the right girl.
That's right. And when I do, well, just wait and see.
All of which reminds me that I'd better start getting dressed pretty soon. I told you, didn't I, Aunt Mary?
What's that, dear?
That I'm having dinner with Nicholas tonight at the hotel.
Yes, you did, dear. Peggy, I have something for you. It's right here in my bag. Here you are, dear.
A letter? Look at Aunt Mary, what is it? From Nicholas.
Yes, Peggy, it's from Nicholas. Randy, would you like to come out in the kitchen with me? I have a couple of things to talk over with you.
Okay, Mom.
And bring those packages from the table, please.
All right. What's going on in here? Why the quick exit from the other room, Mom?
Put the packages down on the drain board, Randy. I thought Peggy would rather be alone while she reads the letter.
But I don't get it. Why would Nicholas hand you a letter to hand Peggy? Especially if he was going to see her in an hour or so.
But you see, Nicholas isn't going to see her. He left Wakefield this afternoon.
He left? You mean he just cleared out without even saying goodbye?
Randy Lane stared at his mother incredulously. He had sensed Nicholas Dorn's growing uneasiness concerning Peggy, had even discussed the engagement with his cousin, trying to discover how she felt about marrying a man with whom she admittedly was not in love. But he hadn't expected Nicholas to act so suddenly. And in the next room...
Peggy, dear, this is one of the toughest writing assignments I've ever had. And I'm afraid I'm not going to do a very good job of it. But I'm counting on your wonderful, sympathetic intuition to fill in the gaps my very
inadequate words will leave. You see, darling, our situation has changed a great deal since yesterday. I think I recognized the inevitable when I heard Lisa Fenner say, "That baby is mine." I knew then that this would have to happen. Last night when we were out on the porch, you kept talking about our future together. It was all I could do not to speak to you then. Somehow I didn't dare. I was afraid I'd lose my courage. That's why I'm doing it this way. As long as you're out of reach of my arms, I can be sensible. Think of the future objectively. When I do think of it, think of your life to be, I can see very clearly that I don't belong in it. There's no room for me, sweetheart. You're in love with Bill. I've always known that. Thank heaven we've been so honest with each other. Now you can have what you want, what you deserve. A marriage to a man you love. I'm not much of a hero, my sweet. But I'd be an absolute heel if I let you go through with our plans under the circumstances. Now that Bill's free, there's nothing to complicate things for you two. That's why I'm leaving this afternoon. Going back to Hollywood. And don't worry about me, Peggy. I was pretty sour on life in general when I came to Wakefield. The work I'd been doing seemed useless. No good. But I realized now it was because I'd lost my perspective. My work was no good because I'd gotten away from reality. I'd stopped being able to tell the important from the trivial. Now, thanks to you and thanks to Aunt Mary and living amongst you all, I really believe I've found myself again. You've all helped me more than you'll ever know. Aunt Mary has promised to come into town and see me today. I'm going to give this letter to her. She understands and agrees with me. I hope you will too, darling. Goodbye, little one. And be happy. Nick.
Peggy finished reading the letter with tears in her eyes. Then she stuffed the letter into the pocket of her jacket. Across the field, she heard the afternoon train whistle as it pulled out of the station in town. Peggy stood by the window looking across the field.
Goodbye, Nicholas. Goodbye. And thanks.
And a faint smile of gratitude flickered on Peggy's lips while tears still glistened in her eyes.
Now for our story. This afternoon, when she had returned from Wakefield, Aunt Mary had delivered to her niece Peggy a letter from Nicholas Dorn. Knowing what the contents of the letter must be, since she had had a long talk with the young man, Mary Lane had left Peggy alone to read it, had gone into the kitchen with her son. A few minutes later, Randy had gone outside to continue with his chores, and Aunt Mary had returned to the living room, found it empty. Realizing that Peggy must be upstairs, Aunt Mary had gone up to Peggy's bedroom.
Peggy? Peggy? May I come in, dear?
Yes, of course, Aunt
I thought perhaps this would be a time when we should have a little chat.
Sit down over there by the window, Aunt Mary.
No.
Sorry, my room's sort of in a mess, but you see, I'm putting things away.
Yes, I see you are. Your wedding dress.
I won't be needing it now. Strange, but there's something awfully sad about packing away a wedding dress. It's such an important moment, really. I suppose even if one's been married in it, there's a little feeling of regret. But if one hasn't...
Peggy, I hope Nicholas's letter didn't make you unhappy. He was afraid that you might not understand.
Oh, it isn't that, Aunt Mary. I think I understand well enough. But just the same, you have to get used to the change. After you've made plans, thought your life was all settled.
Yes, I know, dear. It's difficult for you. Especially right at first.
About the wedding invitations, I suppose I can send out little notes explaining.
Mm-hmm.
And then the presents.
Oh, people will understand. We just send them back with a few words thanking them for their thoughtfulness. I'd be glad to help you with it if you'd like me to.
That's nice of you, Aunt Mary.
Nicholas hated to think of your having to go through all this, dear. But he did feel it was really better this way. He had to do what seemed right to him. You see that, don't you?
Oh, yes. And I don't mind this part of it, the details. I'm just sorry it had to be like this, for his sake. Would you like to read his letter, Aunt Mary?
If you like, dear. But I think I know just about what he said. Nicholas and I had a long talk this morning. The main thing worrying him was that you might be unhappy, even temporarily. Although he was sure in the final analysis you'd be much better off.
And I think he was right. I'm honestly glad it turned out this way.
Glad, Peggy?
Yes, I am. I mean, for Nick's own sake.
Oh. Well, dear, I believe in the long run it is much better. For both of you.
Now, Nicholas didn't say much about his plans for the future. Did he mention anything to you? What's he going to do now?
No, not a great deal. But I had the impression he felt very differently about things, about life in general, since he came here to Wakefield. It was a new experience to him, you know, living in a little town like this, sharing the problems that came up. He says he feels much enriched because of it.
Well, in a way, Aunt Mary, the best thing that came out of the whole business was Nick's getting to know you. You helped him so much. And, you see, Nick had a sort of hit-and-miss childhood. From what he told me, I gathered he never did have much home life. That's why he used to love coming out here so much. Talking to you and kidding with Randy and Lefty. It made him feel as if he belonged somewhere.
That makes me very happy, dear.
I only hope he finds a place of his own someday, where he really feels happy.
Yes, indeed. So do I.
If only he hadn't fallen in love with me, Aunt Mary. When I first knew him, we used to have so much fun together. And he's such a wonderful person. Sensitive, generous.
That's true, Peggy. That's why I feel sure he'll eventually find the happiness he deserves with the right girl.
Yes. And I certainly wasn't the right girl for him. I'm sure I would have made him miserable.
Well, Peggy, since you didn't love him, I'm afraid you would have.
I guess I've known it for a long time, too, Aunt Mary. But I got into such a state of mind, I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to make him unhappy. So I tried to tell myself that perhaps we could work it out somehow. I guess it was foolish of me.
Not foolish, dear. Just young. Everybody is stubborn when we're young, dear. That's why a parent's job is so difficult. We want so much to tell you children what is best, knowing from our own experience. But we can't force our opinions on you. We can only advise and pray that you will be given the wisdom to do the right thing before you make a mistake that can't be undone. I want you to stand up for what you think is right. Heaven knows I can make mistakes.
Oh, but a marriage to Nicholas would have been wrong for both of us. And I just went blindly along, refusing to face the consequences. We would never have been able to adjust ourselves.
I'm glad you see that, Peggy. Marriage is not an easy adjustment to make, even when both the husband and wife are in love. You need so much understanding, willingness to see the other person's side.
And I was only looking at my side of it. Poor Nicholas was so sweet and considerate. And I was willing to accept it, knowing I could never return his feelings for me. I'm ashamed of myself, Aunt Mary.
Then it's all right, dear. When we're ashamed of our mistakes, then we're learning. We're growing up. It's only when we cling to mistakes, try to justify them, that we bring unhappiness to ourselves and others. Right now, perhaps Nicholas is unhappy, but later he'll be grateful. And your friendship will be something precious to both of you, as it was intended to be all along.
I do hope so, Aunt Mary.
Hey, where is everybody?
We're upstairs, Lefty, in Peggy's room.
Come on up, Lefty.
Hey, what goes on here? You two having a coffee clutch?
Just catching up on a few things, Lefty. Randy with you?
No, he's outside. I just talked to him and told him the big news.
What big news, Lefty? You're all excited about something.
Yeah, I guess I am. I don't know whether I'm glad or sorry.
Well, tell us. What's happened?
I just came from town, you know. I ran into, what's his name, that bailiff from over at Huntsville?
Oh?
Yeah. He told me something that really gave me a jolt. You remember when you and Lisa came into the courtroom, Aunt Mary, the last day of the trial?
Yesterday.
Good Lord, so it was. Only yesterday. Somehow it seems longer ago than that.
Seems longer to me, too, Lefty.
Well, anyway, when George Willoughby announced the recess, Kitt Calvert scrammed out, remember? She wasn't there later when the judge asked if she had any statement to make. Farnsworth floundered around trying to explain.
Oh, yes, Lefty, but what about it?
Kitt's gone. She left the courtroom right after that, and nobody's seen her since.
No, wait, Lefty. You mean Kitt didn't go home? Didn't go back to Ben Calvert's yesterday?
Nope. Nobody's seen hide nor hair of her since then.
Goodness, that is strange.
I don't know about us being strange, honey. You see, Judge Willoughby intends to have her cited for perjury. The way I figured it, Kitt knew darn well when she saw Aunt Mary come in with Lisa, she knew the jig was up then and there. So she ups and takes a powder. Yeah, she's crazy like a fox, that gal. Because she must have known how mad her father'd be.
Yeah. Ben would be bound to be provoked after what happened.
Provoked? Why, Aunt Mary, I'll bet he's so hopping, all fired mad he can't see straight. Kitt's made him look like 2 cents, and don't think he doesn't know it.
But, Lefty, has Kitt actually disappeared? Doesn't anyone know where she is?
Not a single clue. She took that fancy green Lincoln Roadster of hers and cleared out, that's all.
Well,
They've been looking for her, all right. But so far, they haven't been able to pick up her trail. My theory is she probably drove somewhere, to some town around here, parked her car in a garage and hopped a train to New York.
she might have, Lefty. Or else,
Or else what, Aunt Mary?
nothing. I was just wondering.
And a few hours later, a long green roadster sweeps around the curved driveway, parks before a fashionable Florida hotel. A young woman gets out, her face haggard from strain and fatigue. It is Kitt Calvert, who enters the lobby, goes straight to the house phone, and asks for Paul Cromwell. But I wonder, Kitt, if Paul, to whom you lied, Paul, whom you tricked and deceived, will be willing to help you now that you need him. Now for our story. It had been a warm day, and now in the dusk there was a drowsy stillness in the orchard and garden which enclosed Aunt Mary Lane's farmhouse on Willow Road. It was the time of day when people speak softly, out of a long silence. The time of day when Aunt Mary and her old friend and helper, Lefty Larkin, loved to sit out on the porch, listening for the familiar sound which had become a symbol to them of their peaceful companionship.
There it goes.
Yes.
You know, listening to that old train whistle gives me the feeling you get sitting inside by a fire in the winter when it's snowing outside. Makes what you have seem all the more precious.
I'm always so glad to know you feel that way, Lefty. I remember when you first came, you used to look so restless, as if you were afraid you were missing something awfully exciting somewhere. And when the train went by, it seemed to be all you could do to sit still.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, Aunt Mary, whether it's old age creeping up or whether I'm finally getting some sense. But I certainly don't feel like that anymore. By and large, I'm so contented these days, it almost makes me feel guilty.
Guilty? But, Lefty, why?
Oh, you know, Aunt Mary, the things that are happening all over the world. In Europe and Asia, riots, people starving, and cities in ruins. Everybody confused. The nations prowling around each other, suspicious and growling deep in their throats like animals, getting ready to fight.
I know, Lefty. All that's true. But...
It makes me feel like I ought to do something. Try to help some way. And here I am, sitting back enjoying the scenery, planting a crop, tending the chickens. And all I know about what's going on is what I read in the newspapers.
Well, Lefty, you're filling your own place in the best way you know how. And the fact that you care about these things is important. It isn't much, I know. But it seems to me that's the best that people like us can do.
Yeah, I suppose so.
And Lefty, right here at home, there's a lot we can do. Just trying to be decent to other people. Trying to help people who need help.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Aunt Mary. See that the other guy gets a break.
That's it.
Yep. I know I have a lot to learn in that direction. I'm such a stubborn, unreasonable cuss.
Well, Lefty, much as I like you, I must admit you're all of that sometimes.
Yeah, I know, Aunt Mary. For instance, when I found out Nicholas Dorn had left town, that he and Peggy aren't going to be married. You know what my first thought was?
No, but I can imagine.
And, of course, now I realize it wouldn't do for her to marry Nick with a setup like that. I mean, when she wasn't in love with him.
No, it wouldn't, Lefty. Neither Peggy nor Nicholas could possibly have been happy. No, as far as I'm concerned, Nicholas did just the right thing. And you know, Lefty, it took a lot of spunk for him to do what he did. Because he's sincerely in love with her.
Yeah. Well, I sure hate to see it turn out this way. I liked Nicholas. I liked him a lot.
I know you did. Of course, Bill Meade's in love with Peggy, too. And from what
Yeah, I know. But honestly, Aunt Mary, as far as Bill Meade's concerned, let's skip it.
Oh, Lefty. Surely you aren't still antagonistic to Bill after everything that's happened?
I hate to disappoint you, Aunt Mary. It isn't as if I didn't feel sorry for the guy on account of what he went through during the trial. He really got a pretty raw deal. But sometimes I wonder if you can blame everything on circumstances in his case. Look at it this way. Bill didn't have to marry Kitt. After all, she didn't hog-tie him, you know. He must have a mind of his own, or at least he should have.
Well, certainly Bill's made mistakes, Lefty. But I think they're honest mistakes. Lefty, when you look back on your own life, can you truthfully say you haven't made any mistakes? Perhaps just a serious one?
Yeah, you've got me there. Yeah, of course I have. And I'm still paying for some of them, too. I guess I'll go on paying for them the rest of my life. Yep, I've been wrong about a lot of things, Aunt Mary. But right now, the most important thing to me is Peggy's happiness. If only she could find the happiness she deserves. Huh. Looks like that car's got to turn in here.
Yeah, I wonder who it is. I don't seem to know.
Anybody home?
Dell Shipley. Well, I should say we are, Dell. We've been looking for you.
Well, here I am. Say, you two show the people up there.
Oh, we are. Come on up and sit in the swing, Dell. Very comfortable. Or would you rather go inside?
Oh, I should say not. This is wonderful.
Oh. Here, sit down.
Oh, say, do you think this will hold me? I'm no thistledown, you know.
That swing? You should see the youngsters pile on it sometimes. Peggy and Randy and Jane.
Well, okay then, but I'd hate to find myself draped out on the floor. Well, Lefty, aren't you going to say hello? You haven't said a single word so far.
Hello, Dell.
I'm so glad you saw your way clear to come down, Dell.
Well, Mary, I pretended I had to. You know, for business reasons. The supper club. Matter of fact, I did have a couple of ideas to discuss with Lily, but to be honest with you, I kind of wanted to get down and talk to you, now that all the excitement of the trial's over.
I guess Lily told you most of what happened.
Yeah, she gave me the lowdown when I stopped in town just now. I sure was glad the way it turned out. You know, Mary, when I last saw Lance Fenner, he beat it. He was so upset, I wasn't sure what he intended to do. And you can't blame the guy for being upset either. It was quite a shock finding out he had a kid and at the same time discovering someone else had custody of it.
Yes, of course it was.
Well, anyway, I was awfully pleased at the way he came through for everybody.
Thanks to you, Dell. If you hadn't gotten Lisa to tell you about it, you might never have discovered the truth.
What do you mean, Aunt Mary? Well, what did Dell have to do with it?
Why, Lefty, we never would have straightened things out if it hadn't been for Dell. You see, Dell...
Let's skip it, Mary. It's all water under the bridge now.
No, Dell, I think Lefty ought to understand. You see, Lefty, I couldn't have confirmed what I suspected. I mean, that the child was actually Lisa's, if Dell hadn't been so concerned about her. She talked to Lisa and finally got her to confess the whole thing. The trouble was that Lisa made Dell promise not to say anything about it. And, of course, Dell couldn't break her word.
Oh. Huh. So that's how it was.
Yes, Lefty. That's how it was.
Well, if you two will excuse me, I think I'll go on down to my place and hit the hay. Good night, Aunt Mary.
Night.
Good night, Dell.
Good night, Lefty. Same old thing. The minute I show my face around here, Lefty beats it.
No, Dell, this isn't the same thing. Couldn't you tell? Why don't you go and talk to him for a minute?
Think I should, Mary?
Yes, Dell, I do.
Lefty, I hope you don't mind my following you down here. I'll only stay a minute.
That's okay. I'm glad you did, Dell.
It seems to me whenever I'm around here, you get out as fast as you can. I'm not super sensitive, Lefty, but gosh, it makes me feel pretty low.
I'm sorry, Dell. Guess maybe I have in the past. But tonight, well, what Aunt Mary said sort of bowled me over. I mean, I realized how wrong I'd been all these months. I guess you knew what was going on way back there the last time you were down. I remember you tried to warn me that Peggy'd make a big mistake if she married Nicholas Dorn.
Well, I was pretty sure she wasn't in love with him.
Yeah.
I didn't want her to be unhappy, Lefty. She's your daughter.
Yeah. Well, she's not going to marry him. Nick broke off the engagement and left town.
Lily told me.
So, I guess Peggy and Bill will get together after all, Dell. Yep. Maybe that's the way it was intended to be. All along.
But at that same moment, someone else was thinking of Bill Meade, too. Ben Calvert, Bill's former father-in-law. Ben thought with hate, Bill Meade. This whole thing was Bill Meade's fault.